First, the war in Gaza. At least 37 people were killed by Israeli fire on Saturday, including more than a dozen civilians who are waiting to collect aid. Health officials said 11 adults also died of malnutrition-related causes in the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, ceasefire efforts appear to be reviving. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff expected to meet with Qatar's Prime Minister in Spain next Saturday. And mediators Egypt and Qatar are preparing a new ceasefire framework. Now, public opinion polls show an overwhelming majority of Israelis favor an immediate end to the war. Weekly protests continued this Saturday. These images from Tel Aviv, but demonstrations were nationwide. These were the first protests since Israel unveiled its plans to occupy Gaza City, which marks a dramatic escalation in the war. There are fears it would lead to more bloodshed on both sides of the conflict, prolonged fighting. And again today, families of hostages have been speaking out.
Here today to call on Israel's largest companies, trade union, and the tech sector to stop everything in order to save our hostages and our soldiers. We are doing this because we have no choice. My husband and the other hostages are facing extreme danger. The decision to send the army deeper into Gaza is a danger to my husband, Omri. But we can still stop this disaster.
Let's speak to our correspondent, Noga Tarnopolsky in Jerusalem. Hello to you. Noga, these were the first protests since Netanyahu unveiled that plan for the military to occupy Gaza City. How significant were these demonstrations?
Well, they were very significant in terms of the number of people out on the streets. That was significantly larger than in other weeks, and also in terms of their vehemence. Yesterday, you had family members of hostages speaking to, tens of thousands of people saying Netanyahu has signed my son's death warrant. Others saying to Netanyahu personally that they will follow him to the ends of the earth if this move his government made results in the killing or the death of still living hostages. This is an echo in part of what happened exactly a year ago in July 2024 when Netanyahu walked away from a temporary ceasefire deal that was on the table, which resulted within weeks in the execution of 6 hostages, including the American Hirsch Goldberg-Polin.
Yeah, and we're still waiting to hear from Netanyahu. And unless I'm mistaken, we haven't heard from the Israeli Prime Minister since that plan was unveiled.
You're not mistaken, Will. He has not spoken at all in public. He has just announced a press conference for us, for the foreign media, in about 3 hours from now. And also there are hints he may hold a press conference for the Israeli media later in the evening. He hasn't held a press conference in a very, very long time, I think in a year or so. So it could be interesting. And not only has he not addressed the Israeli public since this dramatic cabinet vote, but it turns out that nobody really knows what he has in mind. We got confirmation today from an unlikely source, from the National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, who's one of the hardliners in this government, that no operational plans were presented to the ministers. So the ministers just rubber stamped whatever Netanyahu said to them that he might do, but there are no actual written plans. So it's not just the Israeli public who has no idea. And we're guessing that even the top military brass who attended this cabinet meeting and opposed the very notion of a takeover of Gaza, all Gaza, as Netanyahu had initially said he would do, and now Gaza City, that they too have not actually been given operational orders.
All right, Noga. Well, we'll be waiting to see if that press conference does go ahead as planned. Thank you, Noga. Noga Tarnopolsky reporting from Jerusalem.
Thank you.